Hi, everyone. I hope you had a great weekend. Today I'm going to talk to you about Section 10-1. We're starting Module 10 today. Section 10-1 is called Populations and Samples. So basically, we're going to talk about data analysis in this module. And today is pretty simple. It's just talking about what a sample could be like when you're doing a survey and also the types of questions that we would ask when we're doing a survey. So when information is gathered about a group, such as the number of elk in the United States, it's hard to test every member of the population. Obviously, we don't know precisely how many elk there are in the entire country, and it would be impossible to track all of them. Therefore, what scientists would do is study a part of the population, which is known as a sample. There are two types of samples. The first is called a random sample. A random sample is literally when the members of the population are chosen at random. So there's no particular reason why they were chosen. It was just a randomly picked selection. This type of sample is what we call unbiased. And an unbiased is what we want when we're doing samples and surveys. We don't want there to be any bias in the population sample that we're using. There's also something known as a convenience sample, and a convenience sample means that members of the population are actually chosen on how readily available they are, basically how convenient it is to choose them or to access them. This type of sample is a biased sample, which is again what we don't want. We don't want it to be biased. So let's look at an example together. Determine which sampling method will better represent the entire population and justify your answer. So it says Arnie surveys 80 students by randomly selecting names from the school directory, and he finds that 62% of students attend the football games. Vic surveys 28 students that were sitting near him during lunch. Vic finds that 81% attend football games. The person whose sampling method would better represent the entire population, hopefully you agree, would be Arnie. And there's a couple reasons why. Since Arnie is doing a random sample, he's just randomly choosing names from the school directory, there's no rhyme or reason, there's no bias. It's a more fair population. The other thing is that Vic is sitting at lunch, and let's say Vic is a football player. He would more than likely probably be sitting with other football players or other people who like football or cheerleaders that go to the games. So therefore, it would make sense that his number is a little bit higher than Arnie's. So I would say that Arnie is the better representation of the entire school population because it's not just a group of people that were easily surveyed. Again, Vic's would be a convenience sample because it was convenient for him. It was just anyone sitting next to him. Moving on now, a biased sample does not fairly represent the population. So for example, if we wanted to know the number of students who liked Frosted Flakes in our entire school, so our 3 pre-Ks up to our 3 8th grades, but we only surveyed girls in grades 5 through 8, this would be biased because 1, we're eliminating the entire population of boys since we're just choosing girls, and 2, we're eliminating grades pre-K through 4 because we're only doing the upper grades. So a biased sample does not represent the entire population. Let's just do an example about that now. So determine whether each sample may be biased and then explain. Part A says the first 50 people exiting a movie are surveyed to find out what type of movie the people in town like to see. This would be a bias survey. It is a convenience survey because you're just standing at the exit and it's the first 50 people that you see. And odds are the first 50 people you see are leaving from the same movie because, movie times don't all end at the exact same time. They're staggered throughout the evening. So when 50 people are leaving at once, they're probably mostly coming from the same exact movie, which would say that they probably have a similar taste in movies. A better way to do that sample would be to stand at the entrance, perhaps, and survey the first 100 people that came in because they could be going to different movies. You also could do it at different times. So you could, go every few hours and survey 10 or 15 people just so that you're getting a good mix. Part B says the librarian randomly chooses 100 books from the library's database to calculate the average length of a library book. This would be an example of an unbiased survey because, again, the librarian is randomly choosing, that's a key thing there, 100 books from the library to calculate the average length. So she's not choosing just children's books, which would probably have a smaller length than, let's say, books in the reference section. So as long as it's random, then it usually is unbiased. So that's just all there is to bias samples and determining which method would be better. But we also just want to talk about briefly that questions can also be biased. So it says here, in Madison County, residents were surveyed about a new skateboard park. Determine whether each survey question may be biased and explain. So a biased question is a question that kind of leads the person into their answer. So it would contain information in the question to try to sway the person's response. For example, part A said, would you like to waste the taxpayers' money to build a frivolous skateboard park? Now, there are a few words in there that kind of have a negative connotation. So waste the taxpayers' money and a frivolous skateboard park kind of is making this seem like it's not a good idea. So this question is biased because it discourages residents from saying yes to a new skateboard park by implying that it's a waste of money. Do you favor a new skateboard park for part B is a better question. That doesn't kind of try to sway the person one way or the other. It's just straightforward. It is not biased. It does not include any opinions about the skateboard park. And then the last example says, studies have shown that having a safe place to go keeps kids out of trouble. Would you like to invest taxpayers' money to build a skateboard park in town? So this question is leading the person in the other direction than part A. It's saying that it's a safe place and it keeps kids out of trouble, and would you like to invest in it? And make an investment usually is something that's positive. So this question is biased because it leads people to say yes, since it mentions having a safe place for kids to go and to stay out of trouble. So again, if we were doing this survey, we'd want to make sure that we choose a random sample, and we would want to make sure we ask a question like question B. Do you favor a new skateboard? Your questions when you're doing a survey should be straightforward. They shouldn't contain anything that would try to weigh or sway a person's opinion or answer. Okay, that's really all there is to section 10-1. If you have any questions, just let me know during the midday check-in, and you could continue on to the rest of your assignment for today. Thanks so much.